I'm Brenda Quintana coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick thank you note card using the So Very Much Celebration stamp set. This stamp set can be earned free with a $50 order until March 31st, 2017. These are the note cards that I'm going to show you how to make. I've made them in all the 2016-2018 in colors, so it kind of makes a nice little set of note cards if you do them in all the different colors. This one's Dapper Denim, Peekaboo Peach, Sweet Sugar Plum, and Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to make the last card in Emerald Envy. Then I'm going to show you how to make a stepped up version of the card using the same layout but on a medium sized card. So let me show you how I made them. To make the note cards, you're going to need a package of Whisper White note cards and envelopes. And I'm going to pull out a note card to start off with. This note card is already scored in the middle, but I'm going to keep it flat for now, and we're going to have it in the horizontal direction. Then I'm going to need my Emerald Envy ink pad. I'm going to open that up. And then I'm going to need the thank you, and I've got this on an e-block. And when I have a big stamp, I like to put it face up so that I can hold the ink pad in my hand rather than the other way around. So I'm going to just tap this lightly on my stamp, and just a couple of little tips right here. You'll notice that even though I was tapping lightly, I caught some ink in the center right here. I like to wipe that away before I stamp, because sometimes if I press too hard, that ink will transfer onto my project. The other thing that I did with the stamp was I trimmed around the edges so that I wouldn't catch an edge. You could also go in and trim out the center of these bigger spots so that you don't catch an edge. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to take a tissue and I'm just going to get rid of the ink in the center quickly so that it won't catch in the middle. Now I'll have to go back gently again and add a little bit of ink over on that side. And then I think my stamp is ready to stamp, and I'm going to want to center it on the front of my card. So let me just make sure it looks right. And then when I like how it looks, I'm going to stamp it down like that. Then I'm going to take my Smoky Slate ink pad, and I'm going to take this secondary greeting, which says So Very Much, and I'm going to ink it up in my Smoky Slate, and I'm going to stamp it just below the U on the card, like that. Then I'm going to take a piece of silver glimmer paper. This strip I've cut to be about 1 inch wide. And then I'm going to take my confetti hearts border punch. Now, if you don't like hearts, you could also use the confetti stars punch, which will give you the exact same effect. So I'm going to open up my punch, and because this strip is kind of narrow, I'm not going to put it all the way to the bottom, otherwise I'm going to cut parts of my hearts off. The other thing I would recommend is punching with the white side facing up, because it makes it much easier to see that you're actually punching out the hearts. So I'm going to line this up on the bottom, so then once my punch is aligned properly, and I can make sure that all the hearts have cardstock under them, I'm going to give it a punch. It's easier to punch it if it's on a surface, so if it's still aligned, just use the heel of your hand to give it a punch. And then all those little hearts will fall out. Then I like to kind of scoop them up, and I've got a little container here. I'm going to just scoop them off my table and contain them in my little container here. And we're going to use the fine tip glue pen to adhere them. So let me open this up. And this, of course, has a piece that goes down inside the hole, so I'm unscrewing the top, and then I'm going to pull it straight off, and you'll see that there's a pin right there that keeps the hole from clogging. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over on one side. I'm going to add the hearts on this side. So I'm kind of going to do 2 at a time. Like that. Then I'm just going to cap my fine tip glue pen, and when I do that, I'm going to find this pin on the cap and I'm going to align it with the hole, and then I'm going to close it and screw it shut. Okay, now all we need to do is fold it along the score line and use the bone folder to smooth down that fold. And that's how you make this very easy note card. Now let me show you how to make that stepped up version. So for the stepped up version, you're going to use the same color of cardstock as you use for the ink. So I've got a piece of Emerald Envy cardstock here, and I've cut this piece to 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and then I scored it in half at the 4.25 inch mark. You can fold that along the score line. I'm going to smooth the fold with my bone folder. You can set that aside for a moment. Then you're going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut this piece to 4.25 inches by 3.5 inches. Again, you're going to need your Emerald Envy ink pad. You're going to need your thank you. Again, I'm tapping very lightly and making sure that I haven't hit any ink in these open spots. And I'm going to center the stamp on this piece. When it looks good, stamp it down like that. Then I'm going to take my Smoky Slate ink pad again and the So Very Much stamp. This is exactly what we did with the other card. Then I'm going to take a lace doily and my pair of paper snips, and I'm going to cut my doily in half. And these doilies have vanilla on one side and white on the other. So I'm going to use the white side and bring my card in. So let's lay this out how we're going to adhere it. So that's how I'm going to want to glue it. So I'm going to take some Tombow, and I'm just going to put a little line on the one side for starters. And then I'm just going to kind of line this up centered on the one side. You can kind of see how I've got that lined up so it's equal. And then once you're done that, you can add a little bit more Tombow to the outside edge, and then you can glue the whole thing down to the front of the card like that. And then, of course, you can take your little pieces that you've got punched out and you can adhere them to the front of the card just like we did with the note card. And here's the completed card that I did in Dapper Denim. And the thing I love about the So Very Much stamp set is that the thank you is so large that it takes up a lot of room on your card. So all you have to do is add a few embellishments around it and then you're done. And then of course it makes a fabulous note card set. And if you do them in different colors and then tie them up with a ribbon, they would make a really great gift. All the supplies you'll need to make these thank you note cards are available to purchase or earn on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now. If you like this tutorial, be sure to check out all the free with purchase tutorials available on my blog. The Sweet and Sassy Heart Boxes tutorial is just one of the exclusive tutorials that you can choose free with a minimum purchase in my Stampin' Up! Store.